The 1990s gave us some of the most memorable movies in history, from surprise successes like Home Alone to big-budget franchise launchers like Jurassic Park. Regardless of genre, something they all have in common is that fans have put a lot of thought into theories about them, and many of them are really dark. There are fans that speculate that Somerset, Morgan Freeman, is actually the killer in Seven. There's even a theory that suggests Jack and Rose are responsible for the fate of their titular ship in Titanic. If you love flicks from the 90s, and have a bit of a twisted mind, check out this list of dark fan theories from popular 1990s movies. From Redditor, You, the Ordinary Critic. I don't think it's coincidence that Dodgson planned the embryo heist at the exact same time that the investors' evaluators were touring the site. Dodgson works for InGen's rival genetics engineering company Biosyn. The competitor is 10 years behind InGen and they desperately need to catch a break. What if Dodgson's plan was to not only to steal the embryos, but also to completely destroy InGen's funding prospects? Think about it. Biosyn was probably courted by the same investors as InGen and they would likely know that InGen was the frontrunner due to their advances in gene sequencing technology, but their safety record was suspect after the Raptor incident. Biosyn could have been aware that the investors mandated a 2-day expert evaluation before the next round of funding was released to InGen. If Dodgson could meddle with the investors' evaluation tour, he could crush any chance of InGen receiving funding and possibly secure investments for Biosyn. It makes sense for Biosyn to go to this extent. The park is estimated to have higher attendances than zoos and even sports. This is next multi-billion-dollar entertainment industry, as per the slides shown in Jurassic Park's restaurant. Read the full theory here. From Redditor, You, Superconductive Rabbi. Groundhog Day. Ned Ryerson is the devil, and imprisons Phil Connors in the time loop when Phil refuses to purchase Ned's insurance. The only way Phil escapes is by finally agreeing to buy it. First and foremost, when Phil first encounters Ned, he insults him. Immediately after the insult, Phil steps into a puddle, and Ned remarks, "Well, ha ha." Watch out for that first step, it's a doozy. The first step, Ned refers to literally the first step Phil takes after being placed into the time loop. And Ned is laughing at the irony that Phil's first step was so unpleasant. It's a cruel irony that only Ned is fully able to enjoy. Secondly, on the last day of the loop we see that Phil has purchased insurance from Ned, much to Ned's pleasure. This is actually the act that frees him from the time loop, not him successfully getting Rita sexually interested in him. Read the full theory here. Like our content? Make sure to follow us. From Redditor, You, Spatula 151. I tried searching around for similar theories before posting but found nothing. So here goes. In Toy Story 3 we learn Buzz has a demo play switch when Lotso reverts him back to factory settings in his jetpack battery insert. When the switch is flipped back to demo, he's become his former self from Toy Story. He believes himself to be a ranger and that Zurg is his sworn enemy. I believe that in Toy Story, Buzz's failed attempt at flying was so traumatic on impact that it flipped his switch from demo to play. It's not until he watches the Lightyear commercial in Sid's Upstairs that Buzz actually feels doubt and tries to prove he's a ranger by jumping from the railing. It's the flipping of the switch itself that allows his toy personality to fully realize what he is and is overcome with major depression. Read the full theory here. From Redditor, You, Sarlacc. Starship Troopers. Buenos Aires was a false flag operation to justify the Arachnid War. Summary. Carmen Ibanez is an agent for games and theory, working with Carl. She deliberately flew her ship into the path of the meteor so that it would collide with Earth. The meteor that ultimately crashed into Buenos Aires was somewhere near Jupiter. When Carmen broke up with Rico over video mail, her ship was orbiting Jupiter. At their closest distance, Earth and Jupiter are about 630 million miles apart, or about 4.2 astronomical units. The odds of any meteor at such an extreme distance eventually hitting the Earth are almost zero if we believe Federation propaganda. The Bugs launched the meteor from Planethu, which is on the opposite side of the galaxy. This is clearly a weak cover story, since the Federation also believed at the time that the Arachnids weren't intelligent. One scientist found the very notion of a bug that thinks offensive. The other scientist was just speculating that there might be a more intelligent cast, and that was after the attack. Read the full theory here. From Redditor, You, Tekla_SAP, TL, DR. Vincent kills Marvin on purpose because he taught him a traitor for not warning him that there was a guy hidden on the bathroom with a gun. He tells Jules it was an accident because he could not fully prove Marvin's intentions. From Redditor, You, Valarumgaigi. Cole's teacher was a murderer. So it is established that Cole can talk to ghosts. They seek him out and they want help from him. Before he learns this, he is tormented by them and doesn't know what they want. Cole attends a school in Philadelphia that used to be a courthouse long ago. He frequently sees ghosts in the hallways, people who were hung or otherwise executed for their crimes back in the 1800s. During the classroom scene, when Cole gets agitated over the look his teacher gives him, he begins calling the teacher Stuttering Stanley. This elicits a fairly powerful response from the teacher, who begins to regress into a stutter that we are led to believe he used to get picked on for. Then in a violent outburst, Stanley slams his fist on Cole's desk and calls him a freak. Obviously this guy has huge baggage if he is going to call his 9-year-old student a freak. Read the full theory here. From Redditor, deleted. He had a quiet way about him, a walk and a talk that just wasn't normal around here. He strolled, like a man in a park without a care or a worry in the world, like he had on an invisible coat that would shield him from this place, because he was a sociopath, and he was guilty. First off, I love The Shawshank Redemption. I've seen it over 50 times. I also like to watch movies with a different twist, so I'm going to pose this theory out there for everyone to think about and discuss. Warning, as I started writing this up I got sad with the prospect it may be true. If you don't want to maintain the purity forever, click away now. Andy Dufresne is in fact an icy and remorseless killer who manipulated everyone around him. Read the full theory here. From Redditor, Stefan T51. In Aladdin, Jafar was the good guy. The city of Agrabah was ruled by an uncaring monarch, the Sultan, who played with toys, clearly ate too much, and lived in an extravagant palace. Meanwhile, his people were starving and lived in severe poverty, barely surviving as bandits, brothels, and beggars populated the streets. And the Sultan's naive, silver-spooned daughter thought she understood the people's lives after spending, like 2 hours outside. So, as the Grand Vizier, that's like a prime minister, Jafar got fed up and did the only thing he could to save his people: orchestrate a coup d'état to seize power from the ineffective Sultan. Sadly, his plans were foiled by the selfish Aladdin. Aladdin was a self-admitted thief and con man who stole from poor people. He only cared about himself. He got 3 wishes and used them to become a fake prince in order to hit on the only rich girl in town, save his life from a jam he got himself into, and then free the genie, probably in the hopes of having an all-powerful ally. What did he do for his people? Nothing. Jafar did everything he could to save Agrabah, but in the end, Aladdin prevailed, moved into the palace with the princess, and the Sultan continued ignoring his starving populace. The entire animated movie we saw was told by the genie to paint Aladdin and himself in the best and most sympathetic light. Revisionist history at its best. Jafar was the good guy. From Redditor, Zion Hayame. Having sat down and watched each movie back to back, I've started to grow suspicious of a certain main character. Namely, Dewey. There are certain things that have happened in every movie that have led me to believe that he may be the one behind everything. He is always there. This, on its own, means nothing, because so are Sydney and Gale, but when combined with the other things, it seems more significant for Dewey. In every movie, he has been very close to the killer without even getting attacked. The only times he has ever been attacked, barring the Billy Loomis and Stu Macher killings, he has been in view of another character, and even then, it wouldn't be strange to believe that he was in front of the camera that Gale put there. He is always either incapacitated or otherwise busy during the final showdown. This is the big one, for me. During this time, he could be acting. If he's in on it, he's nothing to lose with either side. He could be waiting for them to finish, so that he can take the side of the one that wins. Read the full theory here. From Redditor, Doc Lestrange. John Doe was just the patsy. Somerset was the real killer. In the beginning we see a ton of Christmas tree air fresheners on the desk of Somerset. Somerset doesn't want Mills as lead detective on the case. Why? Mills has a lot of detective experience. He would have been more than capable of leading the investigation. Somerset can be seen fleeing one of the crime scenes covered in blood. Read the full theory here. From Redditor, Altager. After having some fun in the car in the cargo hold, Jack and Rose run up to the well deck in the front part of the ship, laughing, shouting and kissing. There are 3 crew members keeping watch at that moment. First Officer Murdoch on the starboard bridge wing, and the lookouts Fleet and Lee in the crow's nest. When Jack and Rose enter the well deck, we see Murdoch look down at them when he hears the noise. Murdoch then turns away grinning, possibly to give the couple some privacy. The lookouts, on the other hand, do the opposite. When they hear the clamor, one tells the other to look as well, and they both look down at Jack and Rose. In other words, because Jack and Rose were clamoring on the deck, the only three people who could realistically have seen the iceberg turned their backs at the exact same time to what is in front of the ship. Read the full theory here. From Redditor, deleted. Kevin McAllister, Home Alone 2, grows up to become Jigsaw, Saw. From Redditor, Aristotle. The entire hijacking plot was authorized by President James Marshall, played by Harrison Ford, for political purposes. President Marshall wanted to have a policy of never negotiate, no longer tolerate, no longer be afraid with terrorists, but his senior advisors chastised him for it in the limo after his speech. The National Security Advisor was the most harsh with him, and so of course he was the first hostage to be executed by the terrorists. He's out of the way. His chief of staff, Paul Guilfoyle, also took a dim view of the policy, and he got shot as well. With his opponents in his inner circle out of the way, he can get on with business, but didn't Marshall break down and negotiate in the end? That will be covered up by the government. Marshall has plausible deniability because he went through Petrov, and Petrov has no reason to go public with it because it will make him look like a weak puppet of the United States, which isn't what he needs right now. The public will just be made to think that Marshall stonewalled the terrorists until he heroically killed them all, and Roddick was shot trying to escape. It will look like the never negotiate policy worked exactly as intended. Read the full theory here like our content? Make sure to follow us.